The Prophet ﷺ, brothers and sisters, is then asked, فَأَخْبِرْنِي عَنِ السَّاعَةِ قال ما المسؤول عنها بأعلم من السائل. Jibreel alayhi salam, in his questioning of the Prophet ﷺ, asked him, Ya Muhammad, tell me, inform me about as-sa'ah, the day of judgment. When is the day of judgment, in other words? To which the Prophet ﷺ replies, the one who is being asked knows no more than the one who is asking. Yani, I don't know when the day of judgment will be. We have mentioned previously here, brothers and sisters, that there are 5 things from the unseen that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept its knowledge to Himself only. Do you remember what these 5 things are? Allah says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ وَيُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْأَرْحَامِ وما تدري نفس ماذا تكسب غدا وما تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت إن الله عليم خبير. Verily Allah, with Him alone is the knowledge of the hour. He sends down the rain and knows that which is in the wombs. No person knows what he will earn tomorrow, and no person knows in which land he will die. Verily, Allah is all-knower, all-aware of things. He also says, وَعِنْدَهُ مَفَاتِحُ الْغَيْبِ لَا يَعْلَمُهَا إِلَّا هُ. And with Him alone are the keys of the unseen. No one knows them except Him. And from them is from the knowledge of the unseen is what? The knowledge of when the day of judgment will be. It was narrated in Sahih Bukhari on the authority of Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, مَفَاتِحُ الْغَيْبِ خَمْسَةٌ ثُمَّ قَرَأَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ. The keys to the unseen are 5. He then recited the ayah that we've just mentioned. Allah also said in the Quran, brothers and sisters, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ السَّاعَةِ أَيَّانَ مُرْسَاهَا. They ask you, O Muhammad, about the hour, when its arrival will be. قُلْ إِنَّمَا عِلْمُهَا عِنْدَ رَبِّي لَا يُجَلِّيهَا لِوَقْتِهَا إِلَّا هُ. None say its knowledge is only with my Lord, none will reveal its time except Him. ثَقُلَتْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَا تَأْتِيكُمْ إِلَّا بَغْتَةً يَسْأَلُونَكَ كَأَنَّكَ حَفِيٌّ عَنْهَا قُلْ إِنَّمَا عِلْمُهَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ وَلَكِنْ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. It will not come, it will not come to you. No, it lays heavily upon the heavens and on the earth. It will not come to you except unexpectedly. They ask you, O Muhammad, as if you were familiar with it. Say its knowledge is only with Allah, but most of the people do not know. Let's talk about the signs of the Day of Judgment, brothers and sisters. قال جبريل عليه السلام فأخبرني عن أماراتها. Tell me, Ya Muhammad, Ya Rasulullah, about the signs. The signs of what? The signs of the Day of Judgment. So you don't know when the Day of Judgment is. I understand that. But please tell me, what are the signs that I can tell when the Day of Judgment is close? To which the Prophet ﷺ replies, أن تلد الأمة ربتها وأن ترى الحفاة العراة العالة رياع الشاة يتطاولون في البنيان. That a slave girl will give birth to her mistress and master. That you will find the barefooted, destitute goat herds vying for one another in the construction of magnificent buildings. How telling that is of nowadays, and we're going to explain what this means. The signs of the Day of Judgment, brothers and sisters, can be divided into 2 categories. The major signs and the minor signs. علامات الساعة الكبرى وعلامات الساعة الصغرى. In the Hadith, we are given 2 of the many examples of the minor signs of the Day of Judgment. And it tells that the Day of Judgment is close. SubhanAllah, it was close 1400 years ago. So how close do you think the Day of Judgment is to us now? So let's give you a few examples of some of these minor signs of the Day of Judgment. The first one, the sending of the Prophet ﷺ and his death. Another one, the splitting of the moon. A third one, the emergence of imposters, what we call Dajjaals, who would claim to be prophets. We're not talking about the Masih al-Dajjal. The false Messiah is a major sign of the Day of Judgment. Increase in Fitan, tribulations, and turmoil. The murder of the Rightly-Guided Khaleefah Uthmaan ibn Affan and the division of the Ummah. This is also a minor sign of the Day of Judgment. The fitnah of the Khawaarij that came after this fitnah of Uthman, alayhi salatu wassalam. The fitnah of the Khawaarij, the nations who call one another to attack the Muslim Ummah. Does that ring a bell? Tells you that the Day of Judgment is close. Landslides, stones from heaven and transformation into animals, by means which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punishes some people among this Ummah. Abundance of wealth is one of the signs of the Day of Judgment, minor signs. Exclusive greetings, widespread trade and severance of family ties. The standard by which people are measured will become distorted. Some of the signs that have not yet happened, but will happen before the hour, still within the context of minor signs of the Day of Judgment, is that what's going to happen at the Arabian Peninsula? It will become green. Arabian Peninsula will become gardens and rivers once more. Animals and objects that do not speak will start speaking to men. This will be a sign that the Day of Judgment is close. The Euphrates will uncover a mountain of what? The Euphrates River.
Gold.
A mountain of gold. Ahsantum. The earth will bring forth its hidden treasures and the appearance of the Mahdi. These are some of the minor signs of the Day of Judgment that are yet to come. Let's talk about Alamat al-Sa' al-Kubra, some of the major signs of the Day of Judgment. One of them, the smoke. Number two, the appearance of Masih al-Dajjal. We're not talking about the small one, we're talking about the false Messiah. The descent of Isa alayhi salam. Who will he kill? The Masih al-Dajjal, the false Messiah. The emergence of Ya'juj or Ma'juj, the Gog, we call Gog, and Magog. The end of Islam. The removal of the Quran and the death of good people. Mankind's return to ignorance and idol worship. The destruction of the Kaaba. The rising of the sun from the west. The emergence of the beast. The fire that will gather the people. As for the two minor signs mentioned in the Hadith, that the slave girl will give birth to her mistress and master. The scholars have differed in its explanation. Some of them say that it means that when a slave girl gives birth, a son is free, not a slave, therefore he is like her master. Another explanation is that as the hour approaches, this respect for one's parents will increase to such an extent that the parents will be like the slaves to their own child, subhanallah, and their child like a master or mistress to them. The second minor sign mentioned in the Hadith is that you will find barefooted, destitute goat herds vying with one another in the construction of magnificent buildings. Ibn Rajab, saying in the commentary of this Hadith, what is implied by the signs of the hour mentioned in the Hadith is that the control of affairs will be given to those who are not qualified for that. As the Prophet ﷺ said to the one who asked him about the hour, when control of affairs is entrusted to those who are not qualified for that, then look for the hour. When the barefoot, naked shepherds who are ignorant and rough people become the leaders of people and so wealthy that they compete with one another in the building of lofty structures, subhanallah. Allah, it is almost if this was made for the time that we're in right now. This leads to corruption in both religious and worldly systems. So concluding the Hadith, brothers and sisters, finally, let's come up with some points that we can benefit from this Hadith. Number one, that a person may ask about something to attain knowledge or for the purpose of teaching others, as Jibreel alayhi salam did with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That the angels have the ability to change from their original form onto the form of human beings. The hadith shows us the manners that a student should have with someone of knowledge. That when Islam and Iman are both mentioned together, Islam is described as outwardly actions and Iman, by the actions of the heart. That either teaching or seeking knowledge, one should always begin with the most important things first. As in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ started with the Shahadatan, with the La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah when asked about Islam, and with the belief in Allah when inquired about Iman. That Islam has 5 pillars and that Iman has 6 pillars. That the belief in the 6 pillars of Iman forms part of the belief of the unseen. That only Allah has the knowledge of the hour. We've also learned some of the signs of the hour, and that when someone is asked a question of which they don't know the answer to, what should they say? Allahu A'lam. Brothers and sisters, we'll leave it there. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. From next week, we start hadith number 3, which basically is about the pillar or the pillars of Islam. And inshallah, we'll cover that very briefly, and quite possibly we might start durus lessons about fiqh of Ramadan. So depending on how quickly we get through this 3rd hadith, I hope we get through it fairly quickly because it's a very basic hadith. We might start covering how to fast and the fiqh and the jurisprudence around fasting. Like brothers and sisters.